Welcome back to Maximum Leverage. What is it? Simply, it's the difference between a thriving and successful online home-based business and one that's ultimately doomed to fail. It's how to get maximum online exposure, how to generate maximum leads, how to make maximum profits, and how to recruit the maximum number of prospects possible with minimum effort and complexity on your part. What we're going to discuss today is the secret to attracting hordes of prospects without you having to be an expert in 27 minutes or less. If you're just getting started, what this lesson is going to provide for you is the answer to how to attract prospects just being who you are. If you've been in business for a while, what this lesson is going to provide for you is the key factors that you can use to attract more prospects going into the future. So let's do a quick review. What we discussed in lesson 1 was, first off, we showed a little bit of proof, how you can actually go out there and get more online exposure than even your company, even if it has tens of thousands of reps. We then went on and we discussed why recruiting alone isn't the ultimate answer to success in your business. Remember, we used the analogy of a cup with a hole in it. If you keep pouring water in it, you're never going to fill it up because the water is going to keep pouring out the bottom. And then we went on and we identified the 3 key factors in a maximum leverage business: leads, relationships, and profits. So if you haven't watched that lesson, it's a good idea to go back and review that after you've gone through this lesson today. So where are we going to go? Let me remind you about what comes next so you'll have a good feel for where we are in this course. Well, you can see the picture of the ninja there, and there's a reason for it. It's because the next lesson is cool ninja lead getting secrets. What I'm going to share with you are 2 of my favorite ways to go out and get leads that are instantly applicable to anyone's business. The lesson after that, what we're going to discuss is really the glue that holds your business together. How to develop rock solid relationships with your prospects in a very simple way. From there, the rubber meets the pavement. We're going to talk about how to turn your prospects into cash now. And finally, we're going to end up this course with one of my favorite zero resistance recruiting strategies. One that I taught to one of my students, and the very next week, she went out and recruited 3 people within an hour. Once you know how to do it, you'll be able to do the exact same thing. So, what are we going to cover right now? Well, first we're going to talk about the ultimate hurdle for most people getting started. Then we're going to take a step back and we're going to talk about an idea that I don't think many people take the time to really think about. What is responsiveness? From there, we're going to talk about the secrets of attractions. And finally, I'm going to show you how to attract prospects in the next 27 minutes or less. And we're actually even going to go and do a little live field trip. And I'm going to show you how to set up the entire process right here today. So it starts out with this. It's not just about getting leads. The secret to attraction is not just about getting leads. And I definitely didn't know this at the beginning. It's something that I got totally wrong. See, when I got started, here's how it went. I did my research. I learned about the home business industry, the internet, and I found a business that I thought was going to be the perfect business for me. Jumped in, got involved, and I asked the question that we all asked to our sponsor. I said, well, Mr. Sponsor, what do I do now? I need to start getting the word out, start growing my business. He said, well, Daegan, what you need to do is you need to memorize this script and you need to get leads. Here's the website where we all get leads from. And he sent me over there. So I, without thinking at all, just went to it. I said to myself, you know, if this is how to get leads, this is how others are growing their business successfully, let's get to it. So I go and I spend $300 to $500 a month, and 3 months later, I haven't recruited a soul. So what do I think to myself? Well, I start doing an appraisal. I start saying, well, is it me or are there things that I can do to make my business better? And ultimately, what I thought to myself was, well, I'm doing things as I'm supposed to. I'm getting on the phone. My sponsor's saying I'm doing a good job. So maybe what's wrong with my business is I'm not getting the right leads. And so I go back to my sponsor and I say, well, how can I increase the quality of the leads that I'm talking to? Because I'm not getting the right reaction out of the ones that I'm speaking to today. And he says, well, Daegan, back at the lead company that we use, there are actually some better quality leads. See, the difference between these leads and the leads you're getting right now is the premium quality leads come in from TV infomercials, and then they're put through a survey process. They're about the best leads you can buy out there anywhere. They're $15 a piece. Let's go get you some. And I said, heck yeah, let's do it. I'm ready for success. So I go out, I buy 100 of those $15 leads, plop down $1,500, and you know what? After I called through those leads, I realized that I made a mistake. Because you see, I got on the phone with those leads, and there was no significant difference between those leads and the leads I had paid less for. See, what I failed to realize was you can't buy quality. It's not about getting leads or paying more for leads. It's about getting the right leads. It's about getting the ideal prospect. Please remember that. So, who is your ideal prospect anyways? Well, McDonald's, we got McDonald's down here, so this is going to come into play in just a couple minutes. Let me get to it. When we talk about ideal prospects, there's a story that I want to share with you. Maybe you've heard it. If you haven't, pay close attention. There's a great direct marketer by the name of Gary Halbert. Right now he's passed, but he was known to be one of the best marketers, copywriters on the planet. And every now and then he would hold seminars for very expensive prices and with a few other very elite marketers. And at one of these seminars, what he said to the audience is he posed a challenge. He said, look, guys, if I give you a hamburger stand and I have a hamburger stand and you can have anything in the world, what's the one thing that you would do with your hamburger stand to outsell me? And the people in the crowd started saying things like, I'd have the best hamburgers in the world. I'd have the best service in the world. I'd have the cheapest hamburgers in the world. I'd have the most expensive hamburgers in the world. And Gary Halbert said, you know what? I'd beat all of you any day of the week because the one thing that I would have is I would have a starving crowd. You win when you find a starving crowd. Why is that? Well, if you've got hamburgers and everyone that comes to your hamburger stand is hungry, you ain't got to do much else to get them to buy, right? You don't have to do anything else to get their interest. They're already hungry for what you have. That's the key. So, like I said, you don't have to work as hard. They're already hungry. Now, this is true in today's world, right? Think about McDonald's as a business. Now McDonald's comes into play. I know many a times when I was on a long road trip, driving down 95, even back when I was in college, I would drive down to Durham, North Carolina, and there'd be long stretches of highway where there was literally nothing. And I'd get hungry, and I'd say, well, I want to get some food. And what would I see? A McDonald's hamburger stand or McDonald's franchise. And now I hate McDonald's. But if I'm hungry and I see a McDonald's and I know there's nothing else for a while, I'm stopping at that McDonald's. So how do you win? You win by being in front of your prospects with what they want. And McDonald's hamburgers, they're not that good. They're just always there. So I think I've hammered home this point enough. Starving crowd. You find a starving crowd and you can't lose. So, starving crowd equals responsiveness. The secret sauce is this idea of responsiveness. But it's a mistake, and I've shared a little story with you about why this is a mistake. It's a mistake to think you can buy responsiveness because it's not something that you can just go out there and someone can hand you off the shelf. See, what responsiveness really is, and it's something that took me a long time to get a handle for. It was never in any book or course that I bought, and I bought a lot of them. What responsiveness really is it's something that's happening in the minds of your ideal prospects every single day. For example, take me. I'm a person that loves marketing, loves learning marketing, and wants to overcome all the challenges in a marketing world. Well, if you put any sort of a marketing offer in front of me, I'm pretty darn likely to pick it up. I'm pretty darn likely to first of all pay attention and then to buy it. Why? Because it's what I'm thinking about all the time. Same thing's happening in the minds of your ideal prospects. So, there's two parts to this responsiveness idea. There's the where to find them, where are these guys hanging out, and we're going to cover that in the next lesson with the cool ninja lead getting secrets. And there's how do you call out to them and say, hey, I've got what you're looking for, the attraction component. That's what we're going to talk about right now. So, the way that we attract our ideal prospects is we must understand them empathetically. Here's why. I don't remember who said this, but it's one of the most true statements I've ever heard in the marketing world. If you can explain the situation of your prospects better than they can, they will assume you to be expert. So in other words, you do not need to have guru statistics to attract a prospects. You simply need to know what they're going through and empathize with them. And they'll listen. That's the key. Remember this. So, the next question that comes up is, well, if we got to understand them, Daegan, how do we understand our prospects? The way that I do it every day is with questions. So I want you to pay attention to these questions that I go through, because if you take the time every day to ask yourself these questions of your prospects or your potential prospects, you'll be right there in the same mindset, ready to attract them each and every day. First off, what keeps your prospects up at night? Well, I know, and this is from my own list of answers, and I suggest you take these questions and scribble out your own list of answers. What keeps my prospects up at night are the same things that kept me up at night. Being in a job I don't want to be in. Thinking about what that job is going to be like 5 years from now. Wondering if I'm even going to have that job. Getting the bills paid. Working for a month and realizing that there's more month than I have money. In other words, I don't have enough money to pay my bills. And I could go on and on and on. These are the things that are going through our prospects' minds. What are they afraid of? Well, they're afraid of getting to retirement and not having enough of a nest egg to live off of. They're afraid of getting fired. They're afraid of trying a business, risking, without knowing that there's going to be a realized result at the end. What makes them angry? Well, what makes me angry, what makes all of us angry, I think you can probably identify with this, is being confused, being told to do something and not having results come from it. Not understanding the entire situation. Being forced to live a life over and over and over again where these same problems come up day after day. Who makes them angry? This is a pretty interesting and important question. Well, right off the back, we tend to focus our energies, our anger on people. So a simple person that our prospects are angry at is their job, their boss at their job. This person tells them to do stuff, doesn't care about them, and they're not paying them enough. They're not being appreciated. They're angry at their boss. Excuse me. They're angry at their boss at their job. If they're in a business, they're angry at their sponsor. Why? Because they're out there doing what their sponsor said, and if it's based on more of the traditional strategies that we've all pretty much gone through, well, they're not getting the results that they want. And they're saying to themselves, why isn't this working? This person's telling me to do this. It's eating up my time, energy, and money. All I'm getting is rejected. I'm angry at you. But there's one more person that our prospects are angry at, and this is a little bit deep, so follow me on it. Your prospects are also angry at themselves. So it's important to realize this. Now, they don't say it. It doesn't come out verbally. But all the frustrations, all the things that go through your prospect's mind, on some level, they're saying, this is my fault. I'm not good enough. And so this kind of goes forward into some of the future lessons. But when you speak to your prospects, never tell them it's their fault, of course. Tell them, look, I understand you may be angry at yourself. I understand that, the people around you they don't understand what you're going after, but I've been through what you've been through, and it's not your fault. And the reason I'm speaking to you today is because I think maybe a few of the things that I've been through can help you get past those hurdles a little bit faster. So you see, we identify and we move past. But see, we can't get there unless we ask these important questions. So what are their top 3 daily frustrations? Well, one is getting leads. One's getting rejected, right off the top of my head. And another one is just not making money. And we can go on and on and on with frustrations. What do they secretly desire the most? What do our prospects secretly desire the most? Well, I know me, and I always like to think about myself before I got started. What were the things that I really wanted out of my business? Is I wanted a thriving downline. I wanted checks that got sent to me month after month, and I was off having fun. They want freedom. They don't want to be doing all this craziness that a lot of people are saying to do out there. We just want simple businesses that provide a consistent return and the ability to live our lives happily. That's what we secretly desire the most. Take some time with these questions. Go through them yourself. The reason why is when you do this, you'll get into the mindset of attraction. So how do we attract prospects knowing where they are? It's pretty simple. There's 2 ways that we can do it. There's 2 directions we can go in. We can either attract them with going towards a pleasure, here's how to make more money, or we can attract them with moving them away from a pain. And you can see I have bingo there. It's for a reason. Because we as humans are much more keyed into moving away from a pain than towards a pleasure. And luckily for you and I, if you've had any business troubles yourself, you know of pains that you can help your prospects get away from. So this is what you can use to attract them. It's by far the most powerful way to go after prospects at the beginning. So let me explain how to do this. Here's exactly what you do. Number 1, you write a simple report called the 3 biggest mistakes. The reason why I say 3, the reason why I don't say 7 or 10 or 14 or whatever, is because 3 is simple. Anyone within a minute can think of 3 big mistakes that they made in their business. And one thing about maximum leverage and the way I like to do business is I like to keep things as simple as humanly possible. So 3 biggest mistakes is plenty enough. So we're going to walk through how to do this. And you're going to see some other benefits of why doing only 3 biggest mistakes is really the best way to go about this. So when you write out these 3 biggest mistakes, put 1 mistake per page or email if you do it as an email sequence. Write what the mistake was that you made and the story as to how you got yourself into that situation. Very simple. We can all pull back on our own experiences to do this. Next, on that page, you move to the costs of making that mistake. So for instance, if I was talking about buying and calling leads as a mistake, I would say, here's how I got into that situation. I was excited about getting into an opportunity, but as soon as I got into the opportunity, I didn't know what to do. I knew I needed to get the word out, but I didn't know much about marketing, and so I went to my sponsor. I believed and trusted that what he told me to do was the most effective way to do things, so I didn't question anything. And he told me that what I should do is I should go out and buy leads from a certain lead vendor. Those leads weren't exactly cheap. They were $300 to $500 a month. But I figured if that's what my sponsor had done, if that's what our team was doing to grow our businesses, well, who am I to bunk the system? So I go about buying these leads and memorizing my script and calling them. And you know what happens? 3 months later, I'm $1,500 in the hole. I haven't recruited 1 person. I've had tons of rejection. And I'm not getting any closer to building this business, but it gets worse. See, I figured that the quality of the leads was my problem. So what do is I go back to my sponsor and say, how do I get better quality leads? And I start spending more money. What happens? Nothing. Except for I realize that I can't buy quality leads. Buying leads isn't the answer. See, what this mistake cost me was 4 months, X thousands of dollars, and lots of frustration, anger, and pity, self-pity that I really didn't have to put myself through if I had only known that getting leads or paying for leads wasn't the right way to go about it. See how that story is very natural? All I did was I wrote down the mistake, gave the story around it, and then brought up the cost of making that mistake. Then you end with the solution. Very simple. And it's always the polar opposite, right? If buying leads is a big mistake, then learning to generate your own is the solution. So very simple. You can do this for 3 of your mistakes. 3 simple ones are buying and calling leads, listening to what your sponsor says, not using the internet, etc., etc., etc. And these are all tailored to what sort of a business you're in, understanding and remembering what your prospects are going through. So that's how we create the bait. This little three-page report, however many pages it ends up being, this is our bait. This is how we're attracting the prospects. How do we actually get the message out? Well, the way we do that, step 2, is to create a simple opt-in page. Here are the key components of that page. A pre-headline, which basically calls out your target market, attention, home-based business entrepreneurs. A headline, how to do something. You've seen big red headlines before, the same sort of thing. A short description that explains the detail of your simple report that helps your prospects move away from a pain that they're going through. The opt-in box that lets them opt in to get your short report. A PS statement that reminds them why it's important that they get this report, what it's going to mean to their business. And finally, if you can, a testimonial. It's optional. So now that you know how to do it, let me take you on a little quick field trip and create one of these little pages that we just talked about how to create right now. Welcome to the field trip portion of our lesson today. So what I'm going to do is, where we are first off is we're right here on my desktop on my little computer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what I just told you about. So what I did, and this is just in my word processing program on the computer here, is I typed out a quick little landing page in the exact same fashion I described to you. Very simple. All I did was pre-headline here, urgent alert to all home-based business entrepreneurs. Headline, and you'll see the red headline when we go and create this. Making just one of these 3 mistakes in your business means you'll go broke in the next 72 days or sooner, unless you read this short 5-page report right now. So, urgent alert, pre-head is just calling out to our market. Headline, we're getting right to the mindset of our prospects. We're assuming here that they're out there trying to grow their business and things aren't going quite right? And they're probably doing a few things, they're probably going through a few things in their mind, and they're thinking that their business isn't going quite right. So we're just calling out to that. There's probably a couple things if you just fix, your business is going to run smoother. So making just one of these 3 mistakes in your business means you'll go broke in the next 72 days or sooner. So we also assume that they're on a limited budget and they want to get going, profiting soon. So that's really all we're calling out to here, exactly like we talked about. Now, next portion here is our little blurb. These 2 paragraphs are a little blurb before our opt-in box. Unless you read this short 5-page report right now, it will take you less than 3 minutes to read. It will confirm all of your suspicions, right? Our prospects are suspicious. They're wondering why everyone's telling them stuff, but they're not giving them the truth. So it will confirm all your suspicions. We're going there and we're identifying and we're validating what they're thinking and give you a simple and honest plan for profits, right? What do our prospects want? They want to know an honest way to make money in their online home-based business. So one thing I want to make note of here is 5-page free report, less than 3 minutes to read. These things are key because it lowers the resistance for them to want to take action. We're just creating curiosity and giving them a reason to take action in this little landing page. So 5-page free report in 3 minutes to read says to your prospects, not going to take me much time to see what this is. I am curious about it. Let me see what this person's got to say. So it's lowering the resistance for them to come towards you. Key in something you want to do, and exactly why we keep our biggest mistakes sort of report to something short, because it's easier for your prospects to digest once they say, I want it. So the next paragraph here is just as simple. All we're doing is we're giving them instructions. Simply sign in with your name and email address below and hit the send my free report button, and I'll send you your report. And as a limited time bonus, I'll send you my 15 minutes to 3 to 5 leads a day video course. Value $19.95 free. So, first part about this paragraph, simple. All we're doing is giving them instructions. Hit the send free report button and you'll get free report. Very simple, very straightforward. But here's something, not really sneaky, but something we can use to increase how powerful our call to action is going to be. Now, we know that our prospects are motivated in 2 ways: away from pain and towards pleasure. So the main call to action, the main headline here is, hey, let me help you get out of pain. Well, one way that we can turn up the heat and make them want what we got even more is to push that other button towards pleasure. Well, what's a pleasure? What do our prospects want? Well, they want more leads for free. And so if we create a little bonus that has a tangible value and add it, and it speaks to that towards pleasure, we're going to increase our conversion rate. So something simple that you can use. Opt-in box. Then all we have afterwards here is a simple PS statement that reaffirms, revalidates that your prospects are being lied and cheated and they should be angry, and the solution's only moments away. So just saying, yes, the solution's here. Yes, you should be mad. And remember, right above is a solution if you want it. Finally, what I have on this page here is I just created a quick testimonial. Now, if I was using this report in real life, of course, I would have just given my free 3 big mistakes report to someone I knew and said, hey, read this. And if you could, give me some feedback. But just so you can see what this looks like, I created one. Your short report saved my business. I knew something wasn't right. I knew there was something I was missing that was holding me back, and I was shocked when I found out what it was. The day I read your report and made the simple changes you suggested changed my life. I can't thank you enough, John Smith. So something like that in terms of a testimonial does really well because it reaffirms the action that they're taking, getting your solution, and you're reaffirming the result. Hey, if you download this thing, good things will happen. Really, that's all you need. Now, please make note, nothing here is making big claims. We're not going outside of what we may already know, what mistakes we may already have ourselves, and adding in a little towards pleasure bonus, which is you'll know in the next lesson, a couple ways to get leads really easy. You add these components together. Again, this took very minimal time to write up and won't take you much time yourself. And you've got a starting point. You've got a place to attract prospects. So let's turn this into an HTML page. What we're going to do first is we're going to copy this and we're going to open up our HTML editor. For me, it's Dreamweaver. For you, if you don't have an HTML editor, you can find one simply by going to Google and doing a Google search for HTML editor. You can use Dreamweaver, or you can get a free one. There's free ones like NVU. You could do a Google search for that, and they all kind of work the same. I've just gotten used to this one, so this is the one we're going to use. So, to start off our page, first thing we do is we create a table. Instead of telling you what it is, let me just create it so you can see, and then you'll know what it is. So we're going to align our table to the center. And all the table is it breaks up the page, the space on the page. We're going to put all our text inside the table, and everything outside is going to be white space. So let's go ahead and click V to paste. And now all we have to do is make this look like a landing page. So we're going to take our headline. We're going to use Tahoma. We're going to make our headline, let's say, size 24. Let's bold it. I always like to use red, so we'll make it red, and then we'll center it. Now it's starting to look like a landing page. Up here at the top, we're going to, I like to use Veridin. Really, it's up to you. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm going to use Veridin as a text, as a font for our pre-headline. We're going to bold it, and we're going to italicize it. So we're almost there. Next, for our text here, I always like to use Georgia, so I'll just make this Georgia. Now we've got Georgia. We'll take our little opt-in box. Of course, if this was a live page, I'd take the time to actually go to my autoresponder and actually get the code and pop it in right there. But since we're just doing this for demonstrations purposes to show you how simple this is, no need to do that. It's an extra 10 seconds of effort. We'll highlight a couple things here. Free report. We'll even highlight this. We'll italicize it. It'll take you less than 3 minutes to read. Why? Why do we want to do that? Just to reaffirm that, hey, there's really no commitment here. You're just checking out some things I've learned, and I think they'll help you. It's not even going to take you long to get through them, so it's easier to overcome that resistance. And we just highlight it. So let's go down here. We might want to highlight this. Simply sign in with your name and email address. Send free report button. That's what we would have down there. The final thing we'll highlight here is 15 minutes to 3 to 5 leads a day. And we will italicize the value. Down here, we will highlight our PS. We will italicize our little in parentheses statement. And because I want to put a little emotional emphasis here, you should be angry. I'm just going to bold and italicize that. Now, you can, on your landing page, do whatever you like. That's just what I want to do for this one. Finally, all we have to do here is add our testimonial. How do we do that? Well, if we want to have it stand out, what we do is we insert another table inside our first table. Let's make it slightly smaller so it all makes sense. Then we go back here. We pull up our testimonial. First off, let's center that. Let's pop our testimonial in there. And let's use a little bit of a different font. Let's use Courier for this, so it stands out as something a little bit different. We will highlight the name, italicize it. We'll go back here. We'll use Tahoma for our headline. We'll bold it, maybe make it slightly larger. Too large. Good enough. We'll center it, and let's use blue. Let's use a nice dark blue. And that's pretty much it. All we have to do is put our opt-in box to the center. Now let's see if we don't have that weird little formatting thing. And we do. So what we do here is we bring that back. Put an additional little space there. Bang. And we do that so that now we have our opt-in box in the right space. Maybe we even, that's too much. This is where all the fine tuning comes in. And there we have it. So let's save this so you can see what it looks like. Let's save as free report to our desktop. Let's see if we can pull it up. There goes our free report file. We don't want to open it in there. Let's see if we can open it in with our HTML editor. There we go. That's the basic free report. If we want to, our basic landing page for our free report, excuse me. if we want to make this look a little better, we might want to put an outline around our deal. So put a border of 2, and we'll make our outline dark blue. Now when we go back to that page, you'll see what that's done. We'll do the same thing here. Put an outline of 2 and make our border dark blue again. We can click save, and we click refresh here. Poof, we've got a landing page. So now you know how to do it. You simply start off with a little statement, make it look like a web page by putting a table around it. Put your text in there, highlight some stuff, make some stuff red and big, put a little testimonial on the bottom and use a different font so it looks a little bit different, and you've got a landing page. So that's the field trip portion. Let's get back and let's review everything that we've done. So why does this work? Now that you've seen how to actually create one of these pages, it's a very simple process. Here's why it works. First off, notice I didn't make any claim about any sort of big guru stuff. All I used was the idea that our prospects are probably frustrated, they're making mistakes that they don't know that they're making, and we've got the solution to not making those mistakes anymore. What I did do and why this works is I created a lot of curiosity, right? If you see the page that we created, very short, very simple, and I know that if I saw it, I would say, well, what the heck's on the other side of this page? For the curiosity reason and a couple other that I'm going to let you know about again. The other reason why this works is we went right to the mindset of the prospect. Remember, we know that there's a hurricane, a typhoon of emotions going through our prospects. They want a successful business. There are things that aren't going right. They're furious and they're confused about them. And we're there to say, here's those mistakes. Here's the solution. Here's how to get yourself away from those pains. We went right to the mindset of our prospects and spoke directly to where they were. That's how you instantly get the attention of someone who you can help, just by speaking directly to their mindset. Next, I was simple and direct. Here's the problem. There's 3 problems you're having, and I've got a short report that's going to explain them and give you the answers. Nothing huge, no big numbers, just simple and direct. That's all we need to be. I promise instant access and little time commitment. Now this one's huge and this is maybe a little bit advanced, but the reason why this is important is this. Surely we could say, hey, get our free 800-page ebook, but no one really wants an 800-page book, right? People are attracted to it, they'll download it, but they'll never read it. What we want, what our prospects want, is to identify and identify with their problems, and then for us to alleviate those problems quickly. And so what we use in this simple three-page report, a 3 biggest mistakes report is, well, look, here's the 3 biggest mistakes. This report's only going to take you 5 minutes to get through, and you're going to have the answer to all those mistakes and how to fix them in your business. I download that all day because I know it's only going to take me 5 minutes, and they told me it's only going to take me 5 minutes. Far more powerful than here's the big old Bible that's worth $9 million that I'm going to give you for free. Get right to the problem, solve it. And the other little bit more advanced thing I did here is we understand that our prospects are attracted to 2 things. Number one, they're attracted by us helping them to move away from their pain, and by us helping them move towards a pleasure. So by throwing in a bonus that helps our prospects move towards a pleasure, getting more leads, now we've got a little bit more firepower in that opt-in page. Really, that's all you have to do. So let's refresh real quick. The way we attract prospects is not by being a guru. It's by understanding we have 2 ways to get to them, to get their attention. Help them move away from a pain or towards a pleasure. Well, if we're getting started, we probably have had pains ourselves, and we can move right to those points and help them overcome them. All we have to do is create a simple 3 biggest mistakes report, share our own story so they can get to know us, offer a solution, create a simple landing page, and get out there and start attracting prospects. You do not have to be a guru to attract prospects. All you have to do is kind of put your ego to the side and say, look, I've been where you are. I'm here to help. That's how you attract prospects without being any sort of an expert. You can get the same sort of system put together for yourself within the next 30 minutes or so. Get out there and start testing it. I guarantee you it's going to work. So what's next? Where do we move now? Of course, as I reminded you before, next we're going to talk about 2 cool ninja lead getting secrets that you can use in your business. So look out for that very soon. From there, we're going to talk about how to develop rock solid relationships with the relationship formula. We're going to talk about, after that, how to turn your prospects into cash, instant cash in your business so you can grow and thrive. And finally, we're going to talk about one of my favorite zero resistance recruiting strategies. I'll see you next time.